address the complexities of human mind. I don't think any other school has the potential to address these complexities of human mind in a way. No, it addresses your past, it addresses your present, it addresses your dreams, it addresses your fantasies, it addresses your aggression. No, it addresses your drives, it addresses your things that you are aware about. It mostly address things that you are not aware about. So in that way, it 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 address the complexities of human mind.
Welcome to Psychology with Dakshi Walia, the podcast. I'm Dakshi Walia and I have an MSc in health psychology. And I wanted to do this for a while now. So we've started this. The first podcast is already out. Just to let you know what the intention is for this initiative, for this beginning, this podcast. It's multifold, it's many things, but the main thing is that I initially started this channel saying that I'm on a mission to create awareness around mental health issues and to reduce the stigma that is associated with it. And I will say this till the end of time, that this is really one of the goals for why I'm doing this. It's because when you're struggling and when you're in your room alone, you think that you're the only person going through this. And it's you against your mind, right? And the person struggling thinks that they should not speak up and they should not talk to anyone, they should not reach out, and they can deal with it on their own. It's a very lonely feeling, and a lot of this can be reduced if we talk more about it, if we reach out more, if we reach out to our friends, our family members, if this kind of content is available on the internet, on YouTube, on Instagram, on all these platforms. If a person is struggling, if they come across something like this, it might really help them, right? Just to reiterate the fact that you are not alone, and this podcast is just that. It's to let you know that you're not alone. One of the intentions behind this podcast is very simple. It's to make mental health conversations more open, accessible, and grounded in psychological science, right? A lot of these conversations, a lot of this mental health knowledge is hidden behind university classrooms, in academic journals, in therapy rooms, in very expensive resources that is not accessible to the general population. So my goal is to bring these conversations to everyone so that you have more tools, you have more power, you have more understanding, and you can reflect on your own mind and minds of other people. So, keeping this intention in mind, today we're in conversation with Mohamed Suhail. Suhail is a psychodynamic psychotherapist certified by the Indian Psychoanalytical Society. He's a practicing psychotherapist with over 6 years of clinical experience in counseling, psychotherapy, with a specialization in psychodynamic psychotherapy and play therapy for children. His work is grounded in contemporary psychodynamic approaches, focusing on helping individuals explore emotional difficulties, relational patterns, inner conflicts, conscious and unconscious elements that shape their lives. He has expertise in working with personality concerns, mood related concerns, relationship concerns, trauma, abuse, and grief. This is a really good conversation. I'm really looking forward for you to see this. Together, we talk about what psychodynamic psychotherapy is, what therapy actually looks like in practice, the stigma around mental health in the Indian context, and how someone might go about finding the right therapist. By the end of this conversation, you might really be interested in psychotherapy and what psychodynamic psychotherapy is. He talks wonderfully and he guides you through the process of psychotherapy. I hope this conversation also encourages you to seek help, to reach out to a licensed psychologist, a licensed therapist, and to seek some support and help for anything that you're struggling with. if you want to support this initiative, please subscribe, like, share, and comment. And you can also buy me a coffee through a link down below, to support this channel and to support this initiative. Thank you for being here. Now for the conversation with Sohail. We have Mohamed Suhail with us. So yes,
Mm.
welcome. How do you feel?
Thank you so much, Dakshi. Like Abhi, right now I'm excited. I'm curious. I'm just waiting to see how this is going to be evolved. Our conversation is going to be evolved.
Yes, yes, me too. I'm very excited.
Mhm,
Um, ha, Tell me a bit about your journey, because I know so much about you from our time
mhm,
at the
mhm,
university, but I really
mhm,
don't know how you got into psychology. So
mhm,
take me through your beginning. What
mhm,
made you pick psychology,
mhm.
and yeah, how did you come to the
Yeah, I
field?
mean, my perspective, I think it's very normal Indian student ka journey. I mean, nothing from my point of view. I don't feel nothing to be excited about it. I did my schools then. Usually there was only two options, right? We have either engineering or we go for medical background, like medicine or whatever. So I was having this feeling I don't want to do both of them, or I want to choose something different. Then certain options came in front of me. One of the option is psychology, another option was literature, other option was history. So was looking through three of these options. Then I thought I'll go with psychology. You know, I don't know. There was some notion that is pushing me towards psychology, or pulling me towards psychology. That's it. Then after graduation, I got a bit interested in it while reading through, textbooks, on while reading through literature, or while reading through. But there was also, I won't say all the academics was that exciting. There was certain element which is boring also in a way. Matlab, we were expecting to learn a lot about psychology, but we were learning a lot about statistics, or we were learning a lot about, research and other areas in a way. So again, that curiosity is not addressed then post graduation, then which curiosity was still pending in a way while doing the post graduation, that leading me to, you know, pursuing other course which is related with psychodynamic or psychoanalysis in a way. So it's a
Yeah,
bit and crisp about my journey in a way.
yeah, amazing.
Mm.
How so you did your bachelor's in psychology from University of
Mm-hmm.
Calicut, right?
Calicut, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then you did a master's MSc in health psychology from University of
Mm-hmm.
Hyderabad. The curiosity for psychoanalysis was already there during masters,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then and then you pursued some examinations. Tell me a bit about what happened after masters. How was your journey like to choose the course? What were the difficulties? And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
tell me a bit about that.
After masters, where things got serious, like, I really want to do something, but I was not finding the way to go through it. I was doing my research, I was, finding different institute and all. Then initially, I think in 2019 or something, initially I came to know there was a course in Ambedkar University, Delhi. I got into there, I cleared the exams, I cleared the interviews and all, but unfortunately there was an error in my application form, then it got rejected. So again, I have to wait. That uncertainty is there when I am going to get into pursuing this and all. Then I dropped. Then the COVID came, right? So I dropped the idea of coming to Delhi and pursuing it because things were pretty uncertain at that time. Then again, 2022, after my research and I came to know Kolkata Association or Kolkata Institute, the Indian Psychological Society, they're providing trainings, either 2 year training or 5 years training. So then again, I started pursuing it. I was able to clear it and started doing my course in 2022 March, and I completed my course in 2024, like 2 years ka course, around April or something, 2024.
Yeah. And the last time we spoke, you told me how challenging the course was. What were
Mm-hmm.
the challenges that you faced? How was it exhausting in terms of you were telling me that you had to go through your own sort of you had to
Mm-hmm.
understand yourself to be able to do this. What happened there?
Mm-hmm. It was challenging but not exhausting, I would say. It was challenging. Like the challenge was there in every day. Every day, the class will be more like a reflective session where
Yeah.
they'll be introducing different topics and we'll be reflecting with our own self, with our own life experience, with our own lived experience. So that to contain that, you need a certain amount of energy, right? Emotional energy. So it might lead to exhaustion, but I was able to, I don't know, maybe because of my curiosity, maybe because of my interest, I was able to carry on it. Mm, yeah, the challenge was me dealing with it in everyday life. You know, coming to know your certain incidents, how it has impacted you, how it has reflected in your life, or getting to know certain areas of your own personality, or certain how certain incidents has impacted you, informing you as a person. So that way it was challenging. And not only challenging for me, even we have almost 10 students were there pursuing the same course. So this is a group work actually. We are doing it in a group. So there will be 10 different lived experience coming to the table, and we all 10 people together seeing through what is happening all their life. So in that way, we were learning through our own experience. So that was challenging and interesting in a way.
Yeah. What
And
did you
there is
find?
this saying when what did I find? I should I reveal it over here? I'm not
Yeah,
that
do
sure
it.
about it, but I'll do this. When we do a learning, I mean, when we do a learning through our own experience, I think that learning can have an immense impact rather than we learning, by hearting or memorizing. Or, there are different ways of learning, right? So this learning, I think it has impacted in him.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Okay. Amazing. And why psychodynamic psychotherapy specifically? Was there a particular moment or experience where you were like, I have to explore this field? Why not another form of psychotherapy? Yeah.
Mm. So initially, I didn't have the question of why. It was just my curiosity. As everyone, I was started reading with Freud only. Like we came to know so what the psychoanalysis through Freud in our graduation, right? There are certain basic fundamental theories that we learn. From there, it started my curiosity. Later on, came to know psychoanalysis is different, psychodynamic psychotherapy is different, psychoanalytic psychotherapy is different. So it is not Freud now. It has been evolved into different school of thought. Why it is? No, I can answer it better now. I was not having that answer there when I was
Mm-hmm.
starting the journey, but now why today I can answer it. It addressed the complexities of human mind. I don't think any other school has the potential to address these complexities of human mind in a way. No, it addresses your past, it addresses your present, it addresses your dreams, it addresses your fantasies, it addresses your aggression. No, it addresses your drives, it addresses your things that you are aware about. It mostly addresses things that you are not aware about. So in that way, it 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 addresses the complexities of human mind. You know, we wish for something, but we do different things. Why? We act in a some other way, but our instinct might be different. Why? So I think psychoanalysis, psychodynamic psychotherapy is a school that address these complexities of human mind. So in that way, and I believe we humans are complex. We are not that straight down being. We are not that linear being. We are complex. Our personality is complex. Our behavior has different layers. What we manifest has only one portion of it. In that way, why psychodynamic psychotherapy? The core answer would be it can address these complexities and nuances of human behavior. It can address nuances of culture. It can address nuances of even the politics, literature. So in that way, yes to psychodynamic or yes to psychoanalysis. Mm,
And it's a bold choice to choose
mm,
psychoanalysis as a career because not many people choose it, and it's in a
mm,
way a field which is sort of in the background, and people think it's still the
mm,
same where you're lying down on a couch and you're talking to Sigmund Freud. Like, it's that kind of a setup. That's what people think. In
mm,
simple terms, because people don't know what psychoanalysis is and what
mm,
psychodynamic psychotherapy is. In
mm,
simple terms, if you could tell us what psychoanalysis is, what psychodynamic therapy is, and uh, sort of give us an inspiration of why this is a field which is worth exploring. not
Mm,
only as a student, but as a client, as someone who seeks therapy.
mhm,
Yeah, yeah. Can you share something
mm.
about that?
Yeah, I'll try to,
Yeah,
you know, one thing I feel like that there is a difference between psychoanalysis and psychodynamic. Like my training is in psychodynamic psychotherapy. I'm not yet psychoanalyst. I have an orientation towards to it, but I'm not yet trained in it. I'm trained in psychodynamic psychotherapy. I'll start with the difference. In psychoanalysis, in treatment wise, I'll say the difference in psychoanalysis, it is a prolonged treatment. And in training wise, in psychoanalysis, it take more than 5 years, minimum of 5 years of training. In
yeah,
psychoanalysis, the treatment or the the client or the therapist, usually they name it as patient only. They don't refer it as a client. So again, I'll be referring it as a client. In client and therapy, there will be a couch, and the client will be laying on the couch, and therapist will be either sitting beside or sitting behind. Then client will be asked to talk whatever is coming to the mind. Technically, we call it as free association. So that's how. And for to undergo psychoanalysis, usually it happens. Each session happens twice or thrice in a week, regularly for 4 to 5 years. So that is long term, prolonged. It takes time, and it is therapeutically. It is not structured. It is unstructured. It is open. It is free, and that's why the free association plays a crucial role in it. So therapeutically, that is psychoanalysis. So now when it comes to psychodynamic psychotherapy, it's not that prolonged. We don't sit in the couch and, you know, do the therapy. We sit in opposite chair to chair, client to client, face to face. Then the timing will be a weekly once standard, duration or frequency of the session, weekly one session. There are people who take 50-minute session. There are people who take 1 hour session. There are people who take 40 minutes per session. And training wise psychodynamic psychotherapy, usually there are people who offer 1 hour, 1 year of training, or 1.5 years of training, or 2 years of training. So it is not the training wise, it is not that prolonged as compared to psychoanalysis in a way. Now, why psychodynamic psychotherapy or psychoanalysis? I would say that I will come back to the earlier point I mentioned. This is the school where where it mostly explores the complexities of human mind, nuances of human mind. Rather, other schools mostly try to address either thought, or address either emotional regulation, or address either, you know, mentalization, or mindfulness in a way. But this school addresses not just the present life, it addresses the past history, it addresses the previous life, mana childhood stories, whatever it is. So one thing people, who are interested to get to know about their own childhood, who are interested to explore their self, who are interested to explore their personality in general, I think psychodynamic psychotherapy or psychoanalysis is a good option to go through in a way. Or people who suffer intense emotional concerns, or people who suffer intense personality concerns. Emotional concerns, not just anxieties or worries, but deep-rooted emotional concerns, which has been manifesting manifesting from for a long time. I think psychoanalysis or psychodynamic psychotherapy is a good option to explore. And people who having difficult in personality concerns, who not just emotional concern, but struggling with certain or having concerns with personalities. I think psychodynamic psychotherapy is a good option to explore, to understand yourself, to get well aware about yourself. And if you really want to change something about yourself, there are options, there are nuances, there are techniques. Now, how this work, how the therapy works, I think I address portion of your question, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. You did.
Mm.
A bit more on how it is different. So I'm a person. I'm struggling with depression or anxiety. All I've heard is I should go to therapy. I should take CBT. CBT is the best. This is what I've heard. Um, how do I go to a therapist and figure out what kind of therapy I need? I don't know if I need CBT or psychoanalysis or interpersonal psychotherapy. As a person who's struggling, what do I do? How do you think I should go about it?
Mhm. For general population, I think it's more about trial and error method. So we don't have certain criteria for which therapeutic modality is going to, help me, or which therapeutic modality will fit in me. It's mostly about trial and error method. That's one thing practical we can do about it. We go to therapist and see if it is working, and even any of the therapeutic modality has to work. You have to give a time. You have to give you know, at least 2 to 3 months to see whether it is working or not, to see whether it is helping you or not. Now, how this is different in treatment from CBT or treating depression or treating anxiety. Mostly, especially in CBT or other schools, the major thing is that they'll try to address the symptom, try to address the symptom management. We focus on the symptom, we focus on the symptom management, but we go beyond symptom management. We go beyond the question that why depression now? Why depression and why now? And we try to see, was there any traits or elements to trigger this depression, precipitative factors to trigger the depression in their upbringing. It can be relational, it can be environmental, it can be, or this might not be there also. So in that way, if it is there, then there is a strong chance that psychodynamic psychotherapy or psychoanalysis can help you maybe. So rather than symptom management, we try to go through the core issues of the concerns, core conflicts of the concerns, and try to address these core conflicts. And as I mentioned, it can be relational, it can be developmental, it can be environmental, whatever it can. So not just addressing the symptom or symptom management, beyond symptom management, we walk through with each patients or each clients that coming to us.
Yeah, awesome. Is it for everyone? Is psychotherapy, specifically psychodynamic psychotherapy, is it for everyone or is it only for people who have clinical disorders?
Not necessarily it is open to everyone.
Yeah.
It's not necessary. As I mentioned, it is if somebody is so curious about themselves, somebody want to, you know about themselves, learn about themselves, they are welcome to do it. And people are suffering from certain concerns, they are also welcome to do it. So it's not exclusively for people who has some clinical concerns. And when it comes to psychodynamic psychotherapy, we don't categorize or diagnose in aspect of, you know, clinical lens that we see through. Clinical lens that we see through DSM, clinical lens that we see through ICD. We those diagnoses are very primary to us. That is not core of our treatment. That is not core of our intervention. That is not that is not what we do in the therapy. Uh, we see it as depression, then we go through the formulation or we try to see how the depression has developed, why the depression has developed now. So or whatever it is. So if it is open to anyone and everyone, yes, those who are interested, those who are curious about themselves, those who want to know about themselves are welcome to do it, not just for clinical population.
Can you give an example of some non-clinical scenarios where this would apply? So let's say I want to grow in my career, and I'm unable to do it. Can I?
Mhm.
Is it still applicable? Is psychodynamic psychotherapy, can it help in that sense? Or any other example of regular everyday scenarios where it would help, or
But
stressors of everyday life? Yeah.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. No, to figure out your career, it won't directly help you to guide your career, but yes, what is your difficulty? What is your relationship with your career? How your relation with your career has formed? What your struggle has been? How is your struggle with your career has been formed? Does it have any other elements adding to you and the relation with the career? Yes, we can explore that. It won't directly help you to, it doesn't function as a career guidance, but it can help you to see why you choose this career or why you
Mhm.
are struggling with this career at this particular point of time. It can bring that kind of, I don't know, awareness or that kind of perspective or that kind of, you know, notion into your life rather than directly intervening or rather than directly helping you to fix, fix the problem Abhi right now you are facing in your career. In that way, yes.
It can help.
Everyday life, yeah, people who, you know, we all dream, right? We all have dreams. At times we do remember our dreams, at times we don't remember our dreams, right? People in layman example, I'm saying people who regularly dream and who at times some people remember about their dream. So whoever is curious about that, there must be dreams who might be, disturbing dream. There can be dreams that can be pleasant also. So people who are interested or know more about those dreams are welcome to explore here. And we every day there will be day-to-day life stressors. Yes, can be addressed, but I would say but not in a way that initially we'll be addressing the stressors. How can the stressors can managed? How the stressors can maintain? Not exactly through dynamic lens. We'll pull off from other school of thought also. If that concern has to be addressed, Abhi, right now. Right now, this person need not to be explored further. Rather, this person has to help to manage those stresses. Then we'll pull off from other schools and help the person to manage. Then we try to explore the stressors.
Yeah.
If a person is struggling with financial stressor, then why financial stressors now?
Relationships.
His relationship with the money, relationship with the finance, relationship with how, if there is any impulsivity in his spending, if he find a difficulty saving, or if he or she doesn't get the notion of, savings or spending, or how his family has certain idea with the relationship with money, how his familiar scenario has been with financial setup, whether he comes from very deprived family or whether he or she comes from very privileged family, because this all impact us in our relation with the money, right? This all impacts our perception about our own money, right? So in that way there's a chance to explore.
Yeah, very interesting. You
Mm,
you spoke about dreams. Day before yesterday, I had a horrible dream. It was just like
mm,
I woke up feeling what the hell like
mm,
why am I think like how can my mind go there? What is the role of dreams in our pathology, in our understanding of ourselves, or in our stressors in our everyday life? What is it, and how should we go about understanding our dreams so that we can help ourselves? Even in therapy we can seek help. So what is the role of
mm, mm.
dreams? Yeah.
Dreams plays a vital role when we look through psychodynamic or psychoanalysis. It plays a vital role in expressing our expressing our wishes and fears, expressing our desires and anxieties, expressing our conflicts, things that usually things that we are not able to, you know, meet in our day-to-day regular life. Dreams has a possibility to either wish fulfillment, either release of anxieties. Either it will help you to attain your desires, or it will help you to release your anxiety, even though the dream can be anxiety provoking, or you know nightmares in a way. So in that way, yes, dreams plays a vital role in managing our day-to-day life, in managing our day-to-day emotional life, in managing or in containing our day-to-day emotional life, because these are the things that either we can express Either we can't fulfill, or either we are unable to contain those anxieties. So yeah,
Yeah.
we how do we engage with it? We talk about it. We talk about it, and there is this notion that we giving dream interpretation, but we don't give dream interpretation forehand. If a client is coming to us, they are sharing their dreams. It's not that we give an interpretation to them. It's that with with the client we explore those dreams. We explore whatever this person can associate with certain symbols or certain images or certain visuals in the dream. So in that way we go about. We might have our own interpretation, but in therapeutically, we don't encourage we sharing our interpretation. Until unless the client is ready to receive the interpretation.
Yeah, yeah,
So
makes
yeah.
sense. And yeah, why is it so uncomfortable for certain dreams to arrive to your consciousness and you wake up feeling, what is, how can I think like that? Why, how does it get so, why are dreams sometimes so uncomfortable to experience? But also
Dream, I
sometimes
feel.
so good, because sometimes they're just like, there's so much inspiration that comes, and there's also creativity, there's also your mind takes you to different places.
Mm,
So it is
mm,
like polarized, where sometimes it's so good and sometimes it's so uncomfortable. So
mm.
what's that about?
As I mentioned earlier, it does. It becomes uncomfortable when our anxieties, when our conflicts do occur in the dream, and it becomes so pleasant when our wishes and desires, catering in the dream. And why dreams are becoming uncomfortable, I would say that you know dreams are just making us aware, or making us get to know that these things are happening around your life. you know these things are, either you are not addressing these things, either you are not aware about these things, but some or other way it is happening around your life, it is happening in your life. you know whatever uncomfortable things are, and especially these uncomfortable dreams occur when some or other we have this assumption, when our psyche is ready for it, even though not consciously we might not be ready to address it, we might not be ready to go through it, we might not be ready to work through it. But you know our dreams help us to make our psyche aware that some or other we are a little bit ready to address this area, a little bit ready to go through this anxiety, a little bit ready to walk through this conflict in a way. So
Okay.
dreams reflect our day-to-day life, day-to-day anxieties.
Yeah, so I should address
Mhm.
it then. Yeah. Okay. Amazing.
Do you
Okay.
really think so? I don't know how you resonate with it.
I I think it's a gateway to so much, like your dreams.
Mm,
And they do
mm,
say you should just wake up and start writing your dream, because you forget, and you
mm,
forget it so
mm,
quickly because you don't want to experience it, or your mind does not want to remember it.
mm,
But yes, it's important to address it, because, like you said, it's certain anxieties, it's certain experiences that you've had in your life that is still deep rooted in you, and it just comes up when
mm,
you're ready to experience it. So it was uncomfortable. So perhaps I should address it,
mm, mm,
maybe there are other issues in my life or somebody's life, which is completely, absolutely related to that discomfort that you experience while you remember your dreams.
mm,
So, yeah, yes.
mm.
Yeah, I mean, I need to seek a psychoanalytic, psychodynamic
Good luck
psychotherapist.
for you.
there's so few, there's so few now, because there are not many,
Mhm,
right?
mhm. I think Delhi is good for deep work. There are good people, there are efficient people in Delhi who is doing this, you know, depth psychology, who is doing this analytical work.
Yeah,
Delhi is good
yeah,
for that.
yeah. That's amazing. But I do lean towards cognitive behavior therapy for
Mhm,
my own,
mhm,
I think there are a lot
mhm,
of ideas and beliefs that I have for myself, which are not
mhm,
very good for me, and I need to reconstruct those for a
Mhm.
better life. Anyway, the way you're sharing about psychoanalysis is making, I'm sure anybody who listens is going to be like, this is so interesting. We have to explore this. We have to understand this.
Mhm.
I want to address some of the common concerns of people who want to take therapy, who want to go to therapy, but they don't know what it is like. They also have anxieties around what it's going to be like. So, what does therapy look like when you go initially? How do the sessions begin? What is the process like? Yeah, what does psychotherapy look like for someone who is considering it and doesn't know what to expect?
Mhm. I think I'll speak from dynamic aspect. How, because that
Yeah.
does I'm expertise about, right? How does it looks like it. I'll tell about the framework first. There'll be a fixed timing. There'll be a uh, fixed duration. Either it is 15 minutes or 40 minutes or 1 hour. Then there'll be initial session where the therapist will be collecting certain informations, and technically we call it as case history or MSc or mental stature examination. Not necessarily every therapist will do in the first session, but in generally people do it, will collect certain informations. So as per your comfort, as per the client's comfort, you know, feel free to open about it, feel free to talk about it. And if you find any discomfort in it, tell the therapist that you're not comfortable to, talk about those areas right now. Then it's most about talk therapy. We go there and we talk about it. You go there and you talk about your concern. You go there and you talk about your difficulties. You go there and you talk about, in general, we talk about our difficulties, our concerns, our day-to-day behavior concerns. Either it is, internet addiction or social media addiction, either it is sleeplessness, either it is lack of appetite, whatever it is your concern, you try to address it. Then the therapist will be exploring this concerns in different aspect. Depends upon the therapist's skills and training and orientation. Therapist will be addressing it. Initially, technically, we call the initial few sessions are for rapport building. So what happens there that you get to know the client. You get to know, if I am a client, the therapist will be getting to know me in terms of every other aspect, in terms of my education, in terms of my career, in terms of my concerns, in terms of my family, in terms of my marital status, whatever it is. Then later on, therapist will be exploring your concerns. Therapist will be going about your concerns. Initially, what I do is that I'll try to address the concern. If address the concern is so intense, I'll try to, you know, manage those intensity, manage those disturbance, manage in terms of that, client will be able to hold those difficulties for a while. Client will be able to contain those difficulties for a while. Client will be able to tolerate those difficulties for a while. As a therapist, I will be helping, or I will be giving that therapeutic space to do all this through our conversation. Now, this is how shortly this is how therapy looks like now after initial session, after initial exploration. In my lines, in dynamic lines, we go a little beyond. We go a little beyond the concern that you are coming up with. We go a little beyond initially managing the concern that you are coming with. And if you are interested, we go a little beyond those concerns. You know, for example, if it is sleeplessness, we go a little beyond why sleeplessness occur now, when sleeplessness start occurring, why this time? Does it happen previously? If it happened previously, when all does it occur? In that way, we try to see how this sleeplessness has been causing difficulty to this person, and when does this sleeplessness start occurring? Is it only sleeplessness? Does it have any relation with the mood? Does it have any relation with appetite? Does it have any relation with job stress? Does it have any relation with career, whatever it is? So in that way, we go a little beyond the difficulties that you are presenting in front of us. And then again, if you are interested, if you want to really work upon, we try to engage with you as a person, you know not just as the concern that you are bringing. you as a person, as a whole, you know, as a whole in the sense you, how was your upbringing, how easy was your upbringing, how easy was your relationship, how easy was your relation with your father, with your mother, with your siblings, how uneasy was it, how discomforting was it, any incidents, any unpleasant incidents that has happened to you, that has occurred to you, does it have any impact right now? So in that way we go on exploring and exploring, and as per the client willingness, as per the client readiness, we we as a therapist are ready to go as far as the client is ready to go. In that way, yeah, in generally that's how the therapy looks like. And ideally, uh, it starts, then it starts slowly, then it go deeper and deeper, it go very deeper, then it start slowly wrapping up, slowly withering away, slowly withering away. Ideally, we don't terminate quickly. Matlab, we don't stop the therapy session quickly, ideally. Again, client can choose when to start, when to stop the therapy. But ideally, we start very slowly, then we go very intensively, very deeply, deeper and deeper. Then once, client is in a better position to manage himself or herself better, then we slowly withdraw as a therapist. And the termination will also be very, very slowly and gradually process. By saying that, yes, client has a choice. Whenever client feels like to stop the therapy, they are welcome to do it.
Yeah.
Right? That's how, yeah. Did I address your query?
Yes, you did. And
Hmm. Hmm.
usually, how long does it take? Does it take a month? Does it take a year, 2 years? How long does it
Hmm.
take to
In,
solve the
if you're
problem?
working in dynamic aspect, I mean, it's better to expect minimum 3 months. Better to work with a therapist and see if it is working. Minimum of 2 to 3 months. If you are working with a therapist, you can see if it is working or not. If it is working, carry on the therapy.
Yeah,
Duration dynamically, if you're really working on with a client, it will take not less than 1 year. It is more than 1 year.
yeah,
It takes two. There are people who take 2 years. There are people who take 3 years. There are people who take 4 to 5 years. So it depends.
yeah. Depends on the
So there is no
situation.
fixed. Yeah, depends on the person. Depends on the situation. So it is not fixed that your concerns will be addressed from this number of sessions. No, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Because we don't know what is coming, right? We don't know what is happening with the person. So from that position, we can't guarantee a time that this much of time is enough to address or heal or manage your problems. No, we have to see with the person how the person is evolving, how the concerns are coming up in the session, and according to that, the duration will be evolving also. So there is
Yeah,
so there is no fixed duration, but yeah, you can have an approximate. People who really want to work for a long term, it will be around 3 to 4 years minimum. People who want to work on short term, there it will be around 6 to 1 year, 6 months to 1 year, you
yeah.
know, duration.
Okay, cool. What does progress look like in therapy? How does the client know that they're progressing? What does that look like? Or do you tell them?
Mhm.
Do you, from your perspective, when do you think the client is
Mhm.
progressing? Yeah,
Mhm. I don't tell them verbally, but I witness they are experiencing the progress. I witness in the therapy that they are experiencing the progress. It's not that we therapists go and verbally tell them that you are improving. If they ask us, we will tell them this the things and notify those things, those aspects. But in general, we witness it, we experience through in the session that client is improving. Few indicators can be taken into consideration. Um, you know, if your therapy is really helping you, and if your therapy is really working for you, one thing is that you will get a better sense of security within yourself, better sense of security within yourself, within your body, you know, within your thought, within your feeling, within your emotions. You'll be थोड़ा सा settle हो गया. Then you will have a better sense of, your relationship around you, your relation with your parents, your relation with your boyfriend, your relation with your husband, your relation with your boss. You will have a certain kind of confidence, you will have a certain kind of security, you will have a certain kind of, for example, a person is has a difficulty in asserting boundaries, you know, you'll get to sense that the person started to assert boundaries in their life. Client will come up with the stories, they're able to take certain steps, they're able to take certain, they are able to say certain things to their boss. So in that way, we get a sense about therapy is helping them. Then, yeah, they'll be better aware about their own emotional world. And therapy is more and more about your own affective world, your own emotional world, especially dynamic therapy. People think it is an intellectual advantage, but no, it is not an intellectual advantage. It is more and more of affective process, more and more of emotional process. So you will, by going through therapy, you will be better aware about your own emotions, better aware about your own triggers. You'll be in a better position to get to know what emotions is coming, what emotions I want to address, how can I manage those emotions in a way. So in a way, your emotional awareness will be enhanced. In other words, I would say one other indicator, your coping mechanism or your defense mechanism or your coping mechanism, your way of coping to certain distresses. There'll be slight enhancement in it. For example, I'm a person who when I get angry, I'm a person who throw things, who throw plates, who throw glasses. That is how I used to cope. For example, you're taking a therapy, I'm taking therapy, I'm been to therapy for a while. If your coping mechanism towards your anger, if your handling with the anger has been taken a different turn, rather than throwing out things, rather than hitting on the wall, or rather than harming myself, I'm able to talk about it either. I'm able to address it, or rather than I'm throwing certain things, I'm going for a walk, or I'm just taking my time off, settling with my anger. So in that way, your coping mechanism might have certain enhancement. You know, earlier it might have a harmful coping mechanism either to you or the other person. When the therapy is really working for you, your coping mechanism might have developed into certain healthy aspects. You know, so these are the certain indicators. You know,
Yeah.
that can see that your therapy is working. And this doesn't happen over a period of time. It doesn't happen over short period of time. This takes time. These changes, this sense of security, sense of safety, adapting to a new coping mechanism. These all things take time. It
Yeah.
doesn't occur 2 3 months. It doesn't occur 1 month. So yeah, the change that you are expecting or that you're looking forward does need its own time, you know, to your mind to implement it, to your body to implement it, to your behavior to, you know, bring it outward. So yeah.
Yeah. And how big of a role do you think stigma plays in the therapeutic process? We're jumping. I have so many more questions about the therapeutic process, but I wanted to really touch upon the stigma aspect of mental health. If there's someone who know they're struggling, they know they need therapy, um, and they know if they go to therapy, it will definitely help them, but they're afraid of being judged. They're afraid of people and society, their family, judging them to take the therapy and to come to you. Um, what advice do you want to give those people, that person?
Mhm. I mean, stigma does plays a role even these days also, even though, people there are certain sects of people who are looking forward to therapy. They are willing to address or willing to go for therapy or counseling. But it does still plays a role, especially from my understanding, there is still strong stigma towards mental health in rural areas, in you know, in outer cities, in the sides of India. There are still people struggling with stigma. There are still people rather than going to a psychiatrist, rather than going to a psychologist or psychotherapist, they still depends upon the traditional religious way of addressing certain concerns. There are still strong notions of people believing that this person is possessed, this person, you know. in different religion, different cultures, do they have their own notions of psyche, right? So there are people, when I talk about Muslim community, they do talk about the people possess jinn. When I talk about the Hindu culture, there are people who believe that they are possessed by ghost. So that kind of stigma is still alive, not just in outskirts of, or not just in rural areas, but still there that can be visible in, so-called elite areas also. But one thing I believe that, and apart from the stigma in the general population, and there is also this concern that I identified. People who went to therapy, but they really had a bad experience from the therapy. People who've been to therapy, people who are willing to therapy, people who are not that stigmatized, but they are not, they are judged. They are judged with different lens. They are judged. They are not helped properly. They are not addressed properly. They are cancelled out. That experience also coming up. So while addressing the societal stigma, while addressing the societal role playing the stigma, I think we as a community also some or other way, as a therapist community, as a psychology professional community, some or other way, we are also part of, we are also adding to the stigma in a way, knowingly or unknowingly. Maybe due to my incompetence, maybe due to my lack of training, maybe due to my lack of qualification, knowingly or unknowingly, I'm adding to the stigma. So, who a common person who want to go and address their concern, I mean, there are helplines government is providing, but I'm not sure how efficient it is. There are uh, there are government health centers over here which is addressing mental health. There are NGOs over here in Kerala. I can talk about Kerala a bit more,
Yeah.
confident. There are NGOs over here who is giving free mental health services with a qualified psychiatrist and qualified, counselors or psychologists. And yeah, people who want to assess mental health, either you can assess through government sectors. While assessing to the government sectors, it will be less expensive. But the thing is that the rush or the amount of people they want to address is huge. There will be a huge number of population they want to address. So if you are in a situation who need a real quick help, either reach out any private sectors, people who's doing private practices, people who's doing, you know, efficient, proficient work, reach out them in a way if you need a real quick help. Either if you have time enough to wait, you can go through government sectors, address your concerns. But if your situation is quite emergency, uh, you can go to government sectors, also consider going to private sectors in a way. And if you are concerned about their qualification, ask about their qualification. If you're concerned about their training method, ask about their training method. If you're concerned about their way of practicing, ask them about what therapy modalities you are using. What intervention you are using. How's your therapy or counseling looks like. So feel free to ask those questions. You have all, as a client, I have all right to ask. I have all right to get to know what treatment I'm going through, what therapy I'm going through. So feel free to ask about it as a client.
Yeah, don't be
Sure.
afraid to, yeah, piss off people and
There
ask the
will be,
question.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's
It's
your
your
right
right to
to,
get to know about.
definitely. Yeah,
Mhm.
yes, absolutely. And a bit about you as a therapist. There's this idea that therapists, psychotherapists, psychologists do not suffer, they don't struggle with their mental health.
Mhm.
Do you
Mhm.
struggle? Is there anything you want to share? How do you,
I do struggle every day actually. Like,
yeah? What
yeah.
do you
I
struggle
mean,
with?
no, I do struggle with many things. I do struggle with my emotions. I do struggle with my career. I do struggle with my relationship. There are struggles, but those struggles, I'm able to manage it. I'm able to navigate it. I'm able to, you know, go through it without collapsing so far. I did, for personally, I'm talking about as part of my training also. I've been in therapy for last 4 years. I'm been in therapy and I'm also continuing my therapy. I'm being in supervision, and I'm taking my supervision for past 4 years. So, uh, looking from therapist point of view, dynamic therapy point of view, this taking personal therapy, working on yourself, working on your conflicts, working on your emotions. These are very crucial in professional life. These are very crucial in personal life also. So you have to, it's compulsory to go through your personal therapy,
Yeah.
and it is compulsory to address or go to your supervision, go to your supervisor to get your guidance, to get that, you know, confidence to see how to deal with certain cases. So for me, if you're asking, yes, I am. I do have my own struggles, and I am navigating my own struggles in a way that is in a healthier way, in a system that is supposed to address. A system, I would say that yes, I'm a therapist. I'm taking my clients. I'm attending my therapy. I'm addressing my concerns or helping my clients and going to my supervision. So it's a triangular system
Yeah.
where I, as a therapist, help myself professionally and personally in a way. So yeah, there are, I don't know, there are therapists who don't want to go to supervision, who don't want to go to their own self therapy also. But I would strongly suggest that it's always good to, have a supervisor, and it's always good to work on yourself, your own therapy, because it has immense potential to define the quality of therapy that you are providing. These two has an immense potential. Rather than your reading, rather than your training, rather than your academic knowledge, if you are really want to be a therapist who provide quality service, these two plays immense role. And it's not that I'm assuming it. There are pretty evidence-based studies for it also. Therapists on training, therapists on supervision, therapists who did self-work has immense amount of able to provide immense amount of quality
Yeah.
treatment, quality therapy in a way.
Yeah, definitely helps you in
So
your
yeah.
work. You relate to your clients more, definitely.
Hmm.
Thank you
Hmm.
for sharing that. Yeah, just a bit
Sure.
about just some motivation for emerging psychodynamic psychotherapists or emerging psychologists who are wondering what kind of therapy training they should take. Any sort of words of advice, any sort of motivation for them to choose psychodynamic psychotherapy as a profession, because we need more
Mm-hmm.
psychotherapists. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know whether it is an advice or not, but I'll just be curious. Be curious about yourself. Be very very curious about yourself, and be very very curious about people around you. And don't allow your curiosity to offend others. You know, try to draw that line where you're curious but not offending others. Where you're curious, but not get exhausted with your curiosity. So one thing is that be very very curious in terms of your behavior, in terms of your emotion, in terms of your triggers, in terms of your choices in relationship, in terms of your ways of fantasies, in terms of your ways of exploring, uh, in all the aspect. Be very, very curious about yourself, and also be very curious about the other person sitting next to you, either your friend, either your uh, father, mother, whoever it is, close relationship. That is one thing. And I don't want to, you know, navigate by saying that this is the utmost best school of therapy, but our utmost best, you know, this is not, I don't want to portray a notion, this is the ideal thing. No, but I would say that this has its own limitation, but it has its own powerful impacts. This dynamic school has its powerful impact in exploring the complexities of human mind, exploring the complexities of how human mind works, exploring the nuances of how human mind works in terms of, in terms of your drives, in terms of your emotions, in terms of your behavior, in terms of your triggers, in terms of your personality in a way. So it helps us to contain those complexities without living those nuances away. So in that way, if you're a person who is interested, who's deeply interested in yourself, who's deeply interested in others, they are welcome to do it. Now, coming to our profession, if you're a person who really want to do something meaningful, who really want to do something meaningful in day-to-day life, I would suggest that come to this profession. you know, meaningful in terms of helping others, meaningful in terms of helping yourself, meaningful in terms of enhancing your quality relationship, meaningful in terms of helping others in enhancing their quality relationship with others. So in that way, if you're someone who looking forward to do something meaningful about your life, and you're welcome here.
Yeah, that's great
Yeah,
advice. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people will pick this profession
Hopefully,
after.
hopefully, hopefully.
Yeah. One
Mhm.
last question: do you have a top psychology book recommendation for people to learn more about psychodynamic psychotherapy?
Psychology book as in, there are academic books are there, but I will suggest few authors rather than suggesting books. If you are an Indian student, go with Sudhikaka. Go read Sudhikaka's work. He has did immense work on Indian culture and Indian psyche, especially Indian Hindu psyche. Very interesting, very depth. Sudhi Kakar is one guy. Then read Salman Akhtar, again Indian psychiatrist who's practicing US. He has done immense study in psychoanalytic lens, also in Indian cultural wise. Then, if you want to go and know about psychodynamic psychotherapy, read Nancy McWilliams. Don't start with Freud. I would suggest don't start with Freud. Start from contemporary and then go backward. So contemporary, as in Nancy McWilliams, is one option. Her works is very light but very deep.
Yeah,
Then Jonathan Schilder, he's also very light but very deep. He explains this complex nuances in a very simple way. So those who want to, those who are curious and want to learn about, I would suggest Sudhi Kakkar, Salman Akhtar, Nancy McWilliams, Jonathan Schindler. Yeah, that's enough.
amazing. Yeah,
Sure,
that's
sure,
enough.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Sohail. This
Thank you so
is,
much. Thank you for listening to me
of
patiently.
course, thank you for
Mhm,
talking. Thank you for giving us
mhm,
your experience, your knowledge, and your understanding. It was so good. I can truly listen to you talk about this for hours, but we don't have hours and hours. We have this
mhm,
much time.
mhm,
But this is going to add so much value. I hope, and it
mhm,
will encourage people to not only pick this field but also to seek help. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for your
mhm.
friendship.
My
Thank you for
pleasure. My
everything.
pleasure.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for inviting. Thank you for trusting me in this process. Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving this opportunity, Dakshi Walia. All the
Thank
best,
you.
all the very best for your ventures. Expecting more and more podcasts, more and more engaging videos from you. Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you want to reach out to Sohail, I'm going to add his Instagram link down below so you can reach out to
Yeah,
him.
yeah, sure, sure,
He
sure.
also has some engaging upcoming English content so
Mhm,
on psychology, so you can check that
mhm.
out.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you. Bye bye.